Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2. Allow me to introduce our first grand finalist, the Terran player in the red from Team Liquid. It's Clem, up against his counterpart from Germany, the Zerg in the blue, the bottom right. Team Shopify's Lambo. A best of 5, Terran versus Zerg, to determine who will be the winner of Big Gabe, Hero Marine's very own XPERIONCRAFT tournament. And not just thousands of dollars on the line, no, but also the honor and the privilege of Big Gabe himself kneeling down and bestowing upon you the trophy. And speaking of honor and privilege, I'd be honored and privileged if you would like and subscribe. And Jimmy, what are 1,272 likes on this video, on this cast, on this series. And I'll cast another one. And I'll probably do it anyways. But thank you for watching. Hopefully you've had a good day so far. And hopefully it's about to get just a little bit better. As Clem already demonstrating that pinpoint micro. Has he lost anything? No. He didn't lose anything to the run by. Are we just... Is this what we're doing now? Is this the stars aligned? The lottery numbers? I bet. Terran's just running their Hellions in. By Terrans, I mean mostly Clem, but he's just decided we're running the Hellions in this week, or this month. He's been doing it most of the games, keeping the Zergs honest. There doesn't seem to be too much methodology to the madness there. Maybe trying to take advantage of the fact Lambo had a few less Zerglings because he counterattacked, but I really think it's more of a mind game, a meta game than anything. As it comes down to whether or not they have enough lanes to just shut down your Hellions. And so far, Lambo, not quite. Doesn't end up having it. And that means he's slowed just a bit on the next phase. He doesn't have that many drones. The Queens are scrambling to defend. Yeah. Politely yet firmly asking that Liberator to move along. But the Liberator does not care. And, oh no, well, it finds the spot there. And Clem, I think the Spore's in range, but he's gonna get, well, he's gonna get the Queen. Brenda, well, the Queens are still called to defend, but behind it, a lair on the way for Lambo, trying for a fourth. Queen's off the creep. Just poking and prodding at the Hellions. And behind this, Clem, with a pretty standard setup of barracks, double engineering bay, third command center. He's getting all his production online with absolutely no cares about counterattacks. As while those Hellions are on the field, he's able to keep continually scouting, denying the creep, and he can always come back to defend against any sort of Zerglings. A clinical start here so far for the Frenchman. And now Lambo, it feels like catching up a bit, as he's just now getting the Baneling Nest, the Double Evo Chamber. Clem will have... God, he's getting the oncologist here, as he's just taking out tumors left, right, and center. And Lambo, he's got 66 drones, making plenty of lings, knowing that an attack likely impending, as this is about the time those medevacs complete and the upgrades are coming online. Clem didn't commit to anything but a Liberator. He didn't commit to a Banshee or a Viking, which means he had pretty much the maximum amount of gas and production in order to hit this timing. So Lambo is prepared, or at least he's been preparing for it, but those are still a bunch of Marines. He doesn't have 1-1. He doesn't have combat shield yet, so Clem will be forced back immediately. The Hellions pull back into position to 1, repair, and 2, deal with any Zergling counterattacks. Baneling speed about halfway done. Hydralisk speed on the way as well. The Queen's gonna be gunned down. And picks up all 16 Marines and gets out after slicing off a couple. Guillotining 2 Queens off the field. And now with 1-1 finishing up, Clem going to follow up Got some Widow Mines mixed in. Still no Baneling speed for Lambo. So this is the most dangerous timing of this phase of the game. No upgrades, no Bane speed, and limited creep. A big counterattack being sent out. Is there anything? He's got a little bit out there to defend. The Hellions coming in. Meanwhile, diving on towards the creep. Bane speed does finish. Another queen down. This is a very important timing for Lambo. Does he have enough to actually defend? The Widow Mines knock out the queens. The Marines looking at the hatch. Guns down every single Baneling. And just like that, Clem cleans it up and takes game 1. Wow. An absolutely clinical performance there from Clem. Big Gabe, I'm sure. Quite proud, or maybe jealous. Maybe both. I think he's capable of all those things. He can contain all sorts of emotions in that massive, massive brain of his. But Lambo probably needs to go back to the drawing board for game number 2. We're heading into Golden Aura. Gimme. We're heading into Golden Aura. As a clean, almost like a ladder game there. We're a bit spoiled, I feel, with some of the games we see here. Of course, hand-selected, but that is what many on either side of the games look like, either on the ladder or in tournaments. There's plenty for every back and forth 20-something minute late game. You've got a couple, at least, of those just well-executed builds that are able to get the decisive damage and take it home. And Lambo with a whole... He didn't really have very many options. You want to counterattack, because otherwise the momentum will continue. If you're just going for Ling Bane Hydra, eventually you will be overrun. But at the same time, you've got to have enough Banelings to defend. And whatever amount of Banelings you think you need to deal with Clem, double it. Alright? Maybe more. Two command centers on the way. Very, very early here. Gonna get that creep kit. Don't do it. Don't do it. He's one hit away. He was thinking about it. If I just bounce the queen up, slip in, get the hit, and then dive out before the queen lands. Well, not even Reapers can move that fast. Maybe next patch. Oh no. Well, bounces in. Gonna get one. Won't be able to get the other. But so far, well, the Hellion's coming out, so anyone's guess. Place your bets. Does he run by? How many Lings on the field? Just 3? And if it goes wrong, if they just have the Lings or you miss micro even a little bit, it can backfire incredibly hard. If you lose 2-4 Hellions early on for nothing, well, you have no map control. You have no ability to control that creep. And even taking your third's gonna be difficult. But oh my god, just I mean, what do you want me to say? At least this time it didn't really do anything. He gets the creep tumors. He gets a couple drones, so it wasn't nothing. Lambo builds a few more Lings as well. But definitely not as much of a disruption as the previous game. Overlord optimistic it's going to escape, but the Marines not having it. Oh my. Right on the edge of the creep. Now, Cloak Banshee headed across. Well, soon to be Cloak Banshee. The Queen Pack's waiting for it. 3 queens apiece. Banshee almost dead before the Cloak even finishes. Hellions, but Lambo is prepared. And, well, all right. So we go back to the production tab. Double Evo chamber on the way at the same time as the engineering base, a little bit later, but not going to be the decisive advantage it was in the previous game. They're about to complete, as is the Baneling nest, so Baneling speed should be done. Lambo looking a lot better this time around, especially considering he has a fourth base comfortably on the way. Those Hellions still being annoying. He's done such a great job of limiting the creep, despite the best efforts of the Queens. And oh my. Does he actually scan or go? No, okay. Whoa, okay. Well, here come the Lings, but the Hellions actually get in. They're gonna kill 6 drones, and beautiful positioning on the Lings as well. And the Banshees will use this opportunity to slip in towards the natural. And Brenda, did you not bring the Overseer? You have 7 jobs. 7. All right, creep, inject, more creep, deflecting Hellions, telling the also, sometimes you drop, but just in general, we wear a lot of hats here. But the most important one is bring detection. This has gone on too long. This whole bit and not bringing detection, both things. So at some point we got to segue back into something. And double drop is headed out. But most importantly, the creep spread has been pushed outside of the bases, which means Baneling's going to be able to close the distance, and the Queen's able to maneuver, as well as Baneling speed being done. Even more important. Overseer targeted down, loses a couple Marines, but Lambo actually a bit supply block, building plenty of Obies though. Lings and Banes in the main, going to severely discourage. He's still going to think about dropping out. If there weren't enough Banes there, I think Clem would have gone for it. But he doesn't have combat shield, so it's a little bit hard to really get a foothold. The Queens, though, in a precarious position. He realizes, backs off. Another army is headed out. But the Overseers keep getting picked off, wandering out ahead, as they do. And they need some water balloons. Meanwhile, another group of Marines stimming in towards the now 5th base. The Widow Mines dragged out, dealt with. Though armory is done, so they do maintain their cloak. But the Marines on the right flank gun down a couple Queens, back it off, try to target down some of the Banes. There's just a few too many. This time Lambo came prepared. But still, those medevacs sharking around on both sides. Into the main, find the Queens, target down 1. And Lambo trying to hold on here, gets one of the medevacs with Marines inside. But Clem has ground out a 25 supply lead during all this. As Lambo keeps bleeding out units. It doesn't matter too much as long as he's eventually able to max out with the right unit composition. But the momentum is still staying firmly in Clem's favor. As Lambo tries to deal with this, the Widow Mine, Widow retargeting, recalculating, doesn't end up being too much to deal with. No Overlord speed yet, which would make it a little bit easier to deal with those. 2-2's on the way for Clem. Only +2 Carapace and +1 ranged attack for Lambo. But Clem maintains the momentum. The production will continue. The Widow Mine's dealt with, but a shot goes off. 3 Overseers now with the army. The Banelings all rolling forth. I don't know. Oh. Widow Mines are diffused a bit painfully, but the supply's starting to even up as Lambo's economy is spun up to 80+ drones with 5 bases, so he has a lot of production. Guns down the Hydras, though, in the main. Picks up the Marines, getting so much efficiency here. As Clem continues, he's stuck. Oh, it finally a mistake out of Clem. Or at least dropping the ball a bit. As he ends up dropping out the Marines and losing a full medevac of them, and only getting out with a handful. But he still has so much momentum. A 2-2 finishing momentarily. He's going to have the upgrade advantage to an extent as well. He's been able to keep the creep away from the 4th, and will continue to hammer on it. Bit of a choke point there to work with. Are there enough Banelings out of Lambo? The answer is no. It's never. His entire army could be Banes, and it's still probably a no. But a lot of Hydras for that support on the back line. But the Overseers, if they go down, the Banelings at the back, going to roll into the third. The Banshee's helping out, mitigating the damage. Only 7 kills. But Widowmines, all the Overseers were lost. And another drop coming in. Oh no. Lambo supply blocked from losing Overseers at 150 supply. He's lost 6 of them. And now the mines are starting to rack up the damage. Clem grinding out more and more. He's up 200 to 157 supply. Having to rebuild Overlords is one of those costs that just add up so quickly. You both can't build more units, and you have to rebuild Overseers for detection, which costs gas. Another drop. Widowmine drop with Drilling Claws. Stressing the multitasking of Lambo. Ghost Academy's on the way. Lambo has survived. Are there any Vipers? No. A lot of these medevacs easily picked off, but the stutter step gets a Bane, gets another Bane. He keeps working his way backwards. Clearly picks up into those medevacs. But reinforcements have arrived, and the Banshees are still around. 2 Vipers on the way now. Lambo finally finding an opportunity to maybe move out. He has speed, but the Stim Marines are just faster. Stim the Hydras! Nope. All natural Hydras. Get onto the creep, so they might be able to maneuver. At least a little bit better. Viper's about to complete, but the Widowmine closing in. The creep is barely extended at all outside this base. Going to be a bit of a difficult fight here for Lambo, but he takes it well. The Banelings are able to close in. Adrenal Glands nearly done and still holding on, but the main base is vulnerable. The Vipers are out, but I don't think they have enough energy for Parasitic Bomb, and if they get gunned down by the Marines, they never will. The Hydra's trying to close in and take it out. On the other side, Hydra's, Lings, and Banes. Clem struggling to actually keep that momentum up, but unfortunately the Widowmines, oh no, blunting the force of this entire attack, and the Overseers are just not here. He will pick up, but then he just pulls the SCVs to fight with a few Marines, as the Widowmines will recharge as well. The Hydras are actually, Clem miscalculated a bit there. And now the Hydras will find some SCV kills. Clem plummeting to a 3-worker lead. But the mine's back at home, and another base will land. Get him! Okay, some notes. Actually yanking the medevacs past the Hydras there. The Viper's vulnerable. The Marines just stimming past, looking for the Vipers. Transfuse comes through, the last act of the Queen. 3-3 about to complete. Lambo scrambling back to the main, but it has been cleaned up. We've got 5 ghosts on the field now. Clem with a clear advantage, but Lambo has survived. He's now got 5 bases up and working on 6. Looks like the Banshees, which are still alive, by the way. Not too many kills and maybe taken out now. Lambo gonna crash into the 6 o'clock base. This is a lot of his army supply. He doesn't kill the Planetary, he comes back for it. He's gonna lose a base back at home, though. Clem, the main brunt of his army, focused on this. And he will finally take out that base out of Lambo. And honestly, I think at this stage, Clem can afford to lose a base, whereas Lambo is struggling to keep his supply. He's Widowmine dropping on top of the Hydras and the Overseer. And again, a supply block. 15 Overlords dead. The Vipers...
Ready for dust off.
Let's go to the Lambo cam. See what it's like to deal with Clem. Losing those Vipers was the last major hope here. It's really desperate now. As the Widowmine connects, the Ghost will line up the... He's trying for Brood Infestors now that the Ghosts are out, but... He just doesn't have the firepower to break through the bio ball and the widow mines and the GG. Clem with another clinical execution. Oh my. Just solid from start to finish. At no point looking particularly vulnerable. Lambo making all the right moves. I think going for the Hydras, the Lings and Banes, opening up. The thing is, you can make all the right moves, but the speed at which you make them is almost more important. And Clem is just able to get those tiny advantages at every turn, and by the time you're able to turn to face him, he's too far ahead. So that brings us to match point already here on site Delta. Clem up 2-0. Gonna go with the Double Rex Reaper opener with this ramp to work off of. Definitely dropped off in popularity after a few months of becoming the most common build, but still broken out occasionally. The Reapers, well, it depends. You can build 3. The most common is 3, sometimes 4 or 5. Rarely do you go 3 Rax Reaper nowadays, but just to control the 3rd and take advantage of the fact, at least on this map, I think, that it's very hard to counter all in when there's a ramp on the high ground. You're forced into a much more difficult posture, as opposed to maps that don't have a ramp and you can just kind of throw the Ravagers out. Get the Zerglings on everything. I don't know how much that is a factor and how much he just wants to break out the Reaper build, but this map also has a lot of little locations where the Reapers can get away from the Zerglings, very annoyingly. And Lambo doesn't have a 3rd hatchery. He's pretty much waiting out Zergling speed at this point. Clem has a 3rd command center already. Yeah, the Overlord on the Pervert Pillar sees all of this. What will he do about it? If he can kill the Reapers? He got one! Revenge! Okay, well, okay, he's gonna kill the Reapers. This is actually... Now there's nothing at home. Like, Clem... Even one Marine isn't gonna do it. He's just gonna lose... He's on the wrong side of the map. His add-ons are exposed. This is actually a massive issue. He very likely will lose at least one add-on here. Yeah, the reactor has a lot of surface area. This, like, it looks like the Lings will... They do enough damage. The Hellions are about to complete. I think he'll commit to killing the reactor. Will he get in, though? Yes. All right. Well, the question is whether he wants to be in. Huh. Well, that could have been a lot worse, but Clem did have his production ready. So, Lambo does have his 3rd on the way now. Bit of an odd start, but Clem has 3 CC, so any sort of economic deficit is something he can bounce back from quickly. And right now, Lambo just now taking his 3rd, so not able to take advantage of it quite yet. Not again with the Hellions. These damn Hellions. Where are the Lings? They're kind of waiting. He doesn't want to show them until, ideally, the Hellions have already committed. But Clem knows the Lings are there somewhere. Alright, they didn't just disappear magically. So, I don't know. Susan, come with me. We're walking off the creep again. Why does this keep happening? Because... Terrans. I know. Lair, double Evo. Clem opting for just a single engineering bay. A sharper timing this time around. Really focused on those 2 medevacs. It's going to be Roaches out of Lambo to switch it up. And I think against this, well, he's had all of the info. He knows pretty much exactly when everything can be coming out. And that will allow him to tailor a response here. I do think the Roaches are going to do well against the relatively limited amount of Marines, though needs Roach speed as soon as possible. Hellion still sharking in, looking for any opportunity. 9 Overlords on the way for Lambo. Being supply blocked is indeed a bad thing. The Queens doing a lot of damage to the medevacs on the way in. And there are already Roaches ready in the main, so this drop, the Hellions finding an opportunity, will roast 2 drones. But the Zerglings are on top of the Marines, which eventually the Marines will work their way through. The Roaches respond. Roaches actually moved here. But yeah, the Roaches, he gets the extractor because got him. Going to be replaced, but Lambo's still looking okay. What is... There's a scout, totally. Scouting SCV. Yep. Got that info. Yep, that third base is there. Thank you, Jeffrey. The Marines trying to find some value here, but that medevac, a strong gust of wind would take it out, let alone a knitting needle out of the Queens. Baneling Nest now on the way. It looks like Lambo looking for... It's going to be a quick hive off of this. Trying to take advantage of the relatively safe position he's ground out here in order to tech up quickly. Likely, well, clearly at this point, going towards the Zerglings and the Banelings, as opposed to staying on Roach Ravager, which is a very predictable unit composition, one that does not match up well as time goes on, with especially a micro-oriented Terran. I think Clem is expecting essentially a 2-base, or not a 2-base, but a lair tech all-in. But he will scan the hive. And with that knowledge, instead of expecting a mass Roach Ravager timing, he's going to start sending out drops, trying to take advantage of the fact that Lambo likely is not on his doorstep and is instead trying to get that hive tech up. So Clem has a window here that he can potentially slip the medevacs through. And double drop up towards the north side. Meanwhile, the triple drop to the south. Hive is finishing momentarily. We'll see what Lambo decides to do with it. All right. Adrenal glands. Adrenal glands. Another medevac heading in. Well, same medevac. Coming back in with the Marines, of course. Ultraless Cavern. Well, in this sort of scenario, when it's relatively early, like we're pre-10 minutes, Clem not even maxed out, the upgrades aren't there. The lower tech the game is, the better Ultras are. They are a battering ram. So, with Vipers against a ghostless Terran, they've got some opportunity. But of course, the longer he can keep them hidden, at least up until he attacks, the better. So Ultra's the play from Lambo. Definitely the best start so far, by a pretty significant margin, as he's had the supply lead throughout all of it. 3 more command centers being built for Clem. Channeling his inner beyond. No Ghost Academy yet, but he is building some Liberators. Kind of surprising we don't see any ghosts yet, as he knows about the hive. Just going for that pure double siege style. Siege tanks and Liberators. Infantry armor, level 2. About to complete, but here comes the massive attack. The Viper's in behind, a little bit late to the party. Baneling's not going to be too happy about it, but a few blinding clouds will make it a little bit easier to get the damage done. Corrosive bile raining through, but the Marines are collapsing in from either side. Here come the Liberators sieging up, split just a bit, but Corrosive Bow will knock out at least one of them. Forces the base to lift. 23 SCVs are taken down. So overall, a pretty decisive victory for Lambo. Clem, down to 64 workers. They're building 6 at a time. That does not have a solid hold on this location, and most importantly, down to 137 supply. 2 Ultralisks in production now. Only 2. Ultra Speed is now on the way. Chitinous Plating is done. +2 melee is coming up. Lambo can refill and go again before Clem gets even close to maxing out. And I think most importantly, Clem, with no Ghost Academy. He has no, well, okay, well, he just started it. But no ghosts on the way, no ghosts on the field, no way to directly deal with these Ultralisks. He's got to rely on the tanks and the Liberators, which means the Zerglings and the Banelings become a lot more effective. Zerglings headed in towards the north, though a little distracted on the mineral line. The Vipers getting involved. Throws out a blinding cloud. But it's just too much. Lambo's able to crash through with the Ultralisks and get the decisive damage done to put him on the board. Not a perfect game, but enough to power through as Clem trying a different style, and it just doesn't pan out. We'll see if Lambo's hammered him back into that more standard, or if he can have a repeat performance. As a pretty decisive victory out of Lambo, taking all the advantages and running with them towards and across the finish line, showing he can compete. I was a little concerned after 2 games. But going in to game number 4. Clem still up 2-1. No proxy racks on Alcyone. It was the utter failure, I will say, of the Threepers. Clem miscalculating quite dramatically. Keeping the Threepers around for so long, they actually got picked off. Just having those behind the wall, like getting back home in time. Surprised he didn't expect the Zergling speed so early against a 2-base Zerg. But those margins are thin, and even players like Clem sometimes make that mistake. Clem dancing with the Reaper, as one does. Lambo uses the inject on the Queen to start. So, Clem, no reason to stick around and try to snipe off a creep tumor. And, sir, it's time to leave. Still poking around. Wary, I'm sure, of a roach all in. Really? He's poking in. Really trying to make sure. Still has that employee exit as long as the employee is a Reaper. Or I guess a Colossus. I don't know if a Colossus can walk down that. And most times I don't think it would want to. Oh, come on, Clem. Oh my god! The perfect Brenda bounce into the snipe and get out. Insult to injury. And there are some Zerglings that tried to dart in, but the Hellions are in time to intercept. So now, forced to run home. Clem's on the chase. Queens will finally get an opportunity to start the creep spread, but stalling it out for that long is going to have resonating effects as time goes on. The first creep tumors are the most important. You can't really get anything started if you don't get anything started, I said with great profoundness in my statement. Put that on a poster. You can't start without starting. Meanwhile, the Hellions will run in, because of course they will. Well, or they won't. The amount of time they have to decide is remarkably high in this scenario. As the Queen's slightly out of position, Reaper comes back in towards the third. Clem pulling out all the conventional tricks. But this is the lot of Zerg here, which is essentially to get cyber-bullied until you get enough army supply to punch back. Hellions poking and prodding. Off a creep. The queen's remarkably impotent. Lair on the way. Baneling nest. Does Lambo have any evos? No, not at the moment. Liberator headed towards the main. Oh my god. Brenda, move! Get out of there! Get out! Okay, well. This is happening. Liberator actually ends up getting taken out. Tried the third and the queens were ready. So Lambo able to shut down. He's deflected the Hellions. He destroyed the Liberator. So now, here we are. Oh, wait. God, the Hellions are still so dangerous. Lambo's at 60 drones. The Overlord's just wandering across the map. He's got some great sketch. These are the kind of things we point out. That pro gamers like Lambo would be like, oh yeah, look, a Platinum Leaguer. But there's a lot happening right now. And things like Overlords rallying slightly wrongly across the map are easy to miss. When you're so used to watching Cyril, who's essentially, it's not like watching Zerg. It's like watching an AI perfected version of Zerg, except AI can't play StarCraft nearly as well as Cyril. But Lambo showing us what real human Zergs look like. You're like, but I thought they looked like Kerrigan. You know what? I don't. You can retcon whatever you want. Scan on the natural. We'll spot the Hydralisk Den. Is there Bane speed? Yes, Bane speed is done. 1-1 just started now for Lambo. Melee and Carapace. No ranged attack, though getting range for the Hydras. Double drop at the edge of the creep. Looking to zone out. Overlord at the watchtower tried to blend in. Unfortunate. Gonna be destroyed. And now Clem, I think, gonna join up with the Hellions as the armory finishes. No? Alright, so the Hellions still watch. Finds another Overlord. Overlord hunting. And Lambo actually a bit supply blocked here, unfortunately. The armory's done, which puts Hellbats on the table, and of course, +2 weapons begins. The Hydra count, though, looking quite good. The Banelings doesn't quite nail the target fire, so forced to pick up. I think he would have picked up either way, but... Slight advantage for Clem in the upgrades. But Lambo has 88 drones, full 4-base saturation. He's got plenty of production. Does he have a macro hatch? No, not at the moment, but Hydra's being added on. The Banelings targeted. Oh, come on. And Clem just grinds his way through the Banelings, and everything else is now vulnerable. Catching the Queens here. Off of the creep, another one. Gunned down. And Clem just grinding out another probably 10, 12 supply of kills after targeting down those Banelings. And man, got Hellbats and Widow Mines in the center choke point. The amount of nope cannot be comprehended for the Zerg there until Lurkers are out, which Lurker Den is on the way, as is the Hive. But quite a dangerous timing beforehand. More Overlords down. Lambo supply blocked again. It's a bit of a disaster. As engaging this army, the beefiness of the Hellbats here. And there's Widow Mines to stop large groups of units from being able to intercept. Oh my. More Widow Mines splitting. Using the minerals as a wall off here. Stutter stepping back. Clem trying to target down all the Banes. He will lose all of the medevacs. The Banelings will roll in. Oh my god. Don't do stim packs, kids. He gets all the Banes. Because of course he does. More Hydras targeted down. There's a Nidus at the back of the natural. How does he even have vision? Oh, an Overseer at the back corner. Clem will deal with it, but it will drag some attention. One of the Lurker eggs spotted and killed. But Clem has ground out a supply lead now. Widow Mines in the middle. He's lost the Overseer. Oh. No, he's splitting off those Lings quite well, but he needs Overseers here. And Overlords are in short supply, some puns intended. Clem just keeping the pressure on. Another Nidus attempted in this little pocket inside the main base. It has successfully dragged Clem off the map and forced him to build some ghosts. But we'll see if it gets any further than that. Lambo has survived to build 6 Lurkers. Meanwhile, and they are all in the center of the map. Clem not going to engage. Lurker range is completed. And Clem only now finishing +2 armor, +3 weapons, still pretty far off. So he's been investing heavily in just sheer unit production. The upgrades a little bit further behind. Lambo about to finish +2 Carapace. He has Adrenal Glands and Lurker Speed Burrow on the way. A drop towards the natural will be cleaned up as Clem busy dealing with the huge group of Banelings. Any burrow? Not at the moment. So Lambo surviving. He's got Lurkers now. He's got most of the map to work with. Trying to get the Lurkers into the choke point on the center here, which are even better than the mines and the Hellmats of old. Has he taken down the Overseers? Ooh. Well, could have been worse. And the Lurkers are closing in. Are there any ghosts nearby? Banelings looking for an opportunity. The Widow Mines are the only thing stopping those Lings and Banes from crashing through. But the ghosts looking for shots. I don't think there are any infestors on the field to force the issue. But the ghosts in a bit of a choke point here, not able to get all their shots off. Meanwhile, the Lings and Banes did not... it looks like they traded out over to the right side, but this is where the real action is. On Clem's 4th base, the Lurkers getting into range of the Planetary. The Planetary not quite in range of the Lurkers. No Vipers on the field to really force the issue, but the Lurkers not quite outnumbering the Ghosts, but the Concave is amazing. One Viper would be so helpful right now. A tactical Nidus to reinforce, but here come the Lurkers trying to dive on top of that Planetary, dragging out the Widow Mine shots, lines from everything right now. The Widow Mine's connecting, but not well enough. The Ghost trying to crash through. The Planetary is dead, but the Lurkers are as well. 12 SCVs down alongside it, but Zerglings are able to slip into the 3rd base, where I think Clem actually mined through the mineral wall, making it that much easier. But 13 SCVs down. Lambo still has the economy. He can refill. It's not about being cost-effective, it's just about being effective. If you're able to limit the Terran to just 3 bases, well, you can just keep throwing Banelings at them. Right now, Clem, though, has the command centers for far more than 3 bases. And he's not afraid to land them. So Lambo needs to keep the pressure on with those Lurkers. It's absolutely imperative. He's got 1 Lurkers, which is not particularly many. The Zerglings running in. Do the Ghosts have Cloak? They don't. Which, a bit of an oversight out of Clem. Not that they're really needed for Zerglings, but more Hydras and Lings on the way. Clem has maintained the supply. Lambo really needs as many... He needs to keep that pressure on before Clem can really stabilize. Otherwise, he's just going to grind through. Problem is, there's no Lurkers left on the field. He's relying entirely on the mass Hydraling Bane, which designed to overrun the Ghosts here. Now, Widow Mines will thin out some of the Zerglings. The Banelings actually end up getting taken out before they can interrupt the snipes. A Fungal comes through, but there's nothing to follow it up. 16 SCVs dead. Gets the Planetary, but at what cost? As more Hydras. Oh, the Infestor! gunned down before it could get into the Nidus because for some reason burrow units can't move into the Nidus, which doesn't really make much sense when you think about it. But Lambo, without the army to contest the ghosts right now, building more banelings on the high ground. But Clem's army, a dozen ghosts, almost outnumbering the Marines. I mean, if you can build them, why not? The banelings are more too close to the hatchery. And the lings are coming in, but that is not an army. That's gonna make the difference. The banelings are gone. It all evaporates. And Clem guns Lambo down and claims victory. 3-1. Quite a decisive match for the Frenchman. Lambo with some solid moments, but Clem is just so sharp. God. If you have one less baneling than you need, you suddenly lose your entire army. It's just such a thin margin. And Clem able to keep ahead of it. Another solid match out of the Frenchman. Again, showing why he's the best Terran out there right now, especially in TVZ. Otherwise, thank you for watching. I hope it made your day a little bit better. Thank you to Big Gabe. Make sure to check out his stream and his tournaments, apparently now. Of course, Hero Marine. And, well, if you haven't yet, if you have the means of motivation, check out Patreon, YouTube membership. But I hear liking and subscribing is still free for now. Thank you for watching. Check out the second channel. How many more shoutouts do we have? We need to write these down somewhere. Yeah, post-it note. Oh, that makes me feel old. If you feel old and have lots of time on your hands, check out the second channel as well. In the description. Streams, more content, yada yada. Otherwise, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Good luck, have fun. Congratulations, Clem. And stay chill.